On YouTube?
We are.
All right. Off-Road Podcast, episode 266. So you're new to off-roading?
Tonight, Aaron is sad, Jeremy is sad, and Ben has no emotions.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, the podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and tonight I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Jeremy. How's everyone doing? So,
Doing sad.
all sad, huh? Well, what's new, Jeremy?
Well, I got to go four-wheeling this weekend, so I got everything put back together and got to go four-wheeling. Went completely naked, as in the Jeep was naked, not me.
Thank goodness for everybody else.
I know. Yeah, nobody wants to see that. So that was my first time wheeling with everything off, and that was awesome. I loved it. It was kind of dusty, but hey, it was fun. That's what Jeeps are for, right? I ended up getting home and noticed that I had some oil coming out of my front axle seal. So I ended up testing the breather. The breather was doing fine. I thought maybe it was because I overfilled the axle. And so I mopped it. I let it drain out. So I jacked it up and let it drain out overnight, and then wiped everything clean, and then let the differential drain to where it's no longer overfilled, and then took it for a test drive and jacked it up again. And just before we started the show, I checked, and there is a little bit of oil. It's not a lot, but it is some. And so I don't know if it's just residual or what. It's probably new.
A little bit of seepage.
Yep.
You got to spray it down with like some carb cleaner or something just to get it all cleaned up. If you're going to do that, if you didn't do that, that's what you got to do just to make sure it's not residual. Otherwise, you'll be second guessing yourself.
Well, it was like, so I wiped it off with an alcohol paper towel, and then it's like actual puddle of oil, small puddle, but a puddle.
Then it's leaking.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to tear everything apart again. I just got done with that.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm sad. How about you, Aaron? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm sad, but my wife is happy. In fact, she's probably doing a dance in the living room right now. About an hour before we got on air tonight, I got the phone call that my LMTV is sold.
Woohoo! What do you mean you got the phone call that your LMTV sold?
So the guy came out yesterday and spent just over 2 hours looking it over, test driving it, off-roading it on my property, and said he's got to go back, check with insurance, think about some stuff, make sure his wife is on board, and he'd get back to me by tonight. So he got back to me early this afternoon and asked me to call him, and so I called him right when I got home from work, and we worked out a deal, and he's going to pick it up next week.
Wowie.
Nice. So did you get what you wanted out of it?
I did, yes. I'm pretty happy, and I think he's pretty happy also. And I'm really excited about the type of person who's buying it. So this guy has a Ford F550 motorhome that he kind of built up off-road, four-wheel drive. But it isn't nimble, it doesn't flex, and it's not like a cab with a like a camper shell on the back. It's all like one unit, like a normal motorhome where you can walk through to the driver's seat. So it doesn't flex or anything. He as soon as we were taking the LMTV off of my property, I said, "Hey, turn left here," which turn left here is up a 6-foot bank at a 45-degree angle.
Is that the one you always get stuck on?
No, no, the LMTV does great here every time. So you drive at like at 45-degree side hill going up. The bank it's probably maybe 25-degree hill or whatever, and it's like 6 feet in the air, but it flexes it out to do that. And we drove right up that from the very get-go. Then he drove it on road, and then when we got back, we went out into the field, and he drove it across the field. And then when we were getting ready to come back up, there's a whole bunch of blackberries that divide a little bit of portion of my property. And I said, hey, drive straight through those. And the blackberries are about 10 feet tall. They're taller than the cab of the truck. And we drove through it. And in the middle of the blackberries is kind of a little, I don't want to call it a chasm. I'm not sure what to call it, but where water dries up in the summer from a creek that flows in the winter. And so it's rutted out in the middle of this little guy. And
I call that
when
a
we
ditch.
got, yeah, it's a little bit bigger than a ditch, but it's like a ditch. Yeah. And at the very end, when he was leaving, he's like, yeah, driving through the blackberries really sold it for me. I said, well, let's go drive through them again. Just really sell it. So yeah, he's really excited. He's gonna deal with, I think they're called Total Composites out of Vancouver, Canada, and build a habitat for the back of it. And he's gonna totally go through it and do the stuff that I had planned to do. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you'll have to make sure he sends you pictures.
Yes. Yep.
Is he local to you?
Yeah, he's I believe he's in Clackamas, so not too far from Warren.
Hopefully, you can run over there and see it when it's all finished.
I hope so. Yeah.
Although then you might want to buy it back from him.
I'm gonna have all my money spent by then.
So what are you spending the money on?
I need to get that. I think I've talked to you guys about it. Grandpa's diesel truck that he has and doesn't really need. So gonna get that. I know he's owned it forever and got good maintenance on it, and it'll make a good farm truck. It's got a full-size bed, and it'll just be good. If we need to tow a heavier trailer than something the Nissan can do, it'll make a good farm truck for that stuff. So, and then the other half of the money is supposed to go towards outfitting my Nissan with the Titan Swap engine and the Titan Swap front end. So I think that's where we're going.
Nice. So are you gonna pull the Titan rear axle too, just to
I don't
keep
think
up
so.
the length?
No, I don't think so. Because it won't have a locker in it, and
Yeah.
and you have to cut off all the spring perches and weld all new ones on, and it isn't worth the hassle from everything I hear.
Gotcha.
Yep. Beyond that,
Well-
I washed all three of our rigs for the first time in a long time on our property. We live on a dirt road, so I don't wash them very often because they just get dirty. And I decided to have my kids, my daughter who's 6 and my son who's 9, help me wash the cars.
That's a bad
It's
idea.
pretty stressful having kids help you wash your car. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
And as I was leaving for work this morning, I noticed the whole fender of the Toyota Avalon I drive as my commuter just didn't get washed at all. So yeah, just a big dirty fender. The rest of the car's shiny. Yeah, dirty fender.
Typical.
Typical
Yep.
kids.
Yeah. And other than that, I'm starting tomorrow. I'll be starting to pack up for some camp trips coming up. I've got one this coming weekend, and then 2 weeks after that, and then 2 weeks after that. So I've got some every other weekend camp trips coming up
Busy.
that I'm really excited for.
Where are you going this weekend?
Going to the CBT family camp outside of Bend, Oregon.
Ooh, I'm jealous. I actually considered going.
Half tempted?
even though I don't own a tent. Not half tempted. I really
do you have a
wanted to go.
You have a CBT awning or something, right? So that
No, I
you
don't
could
have
gone.
the awning.
Or awning room.
No.
It's an ARB room, I think.
I
Do you
don't.
have
My neighbor
do
has
you
a
have
CVT.
any CV? You have a CBT silicone cup. That's what it is.
Yes, I have the cup.
Okay, that'll get you in.
Yeah,
That'll
there
get
we
you
go.
in.
I'll just this is my access pass.
Well, what have you been up to?
Bobby
Ben?
knows me. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, well, obviously you two noticed that I wasn't here last week. So I was at work and I got overheated. I had 2 or 3 of the 6 signs for heat stroke going on. I had to lay down on the ground and suffer in pain and misery while I was cooling down. And oh my goodness, a stranger just walked into my garage.
I I was talking to Dennis a couple days after your episode there, Ben, and Dennis said he wasn't sure if he was going to have to call the paramedics or not. He said
Yeah.
you were just down for the count.
Yeah, I was down. I was down hard. I couldn't catch my breath. My heart was just racing. Thankfully, due to our friend Skinny Medic and Sean over there on the Civilian Medical Podcast, I was able to um, go into the recovery position and get my heart rate up or down. So yeah, it was rough. I was suffering. So it was a little miserable. Dennis was sitting there feeding me water and throwing a wet towel on my forehead. Yeah.
What did he wet it with? You probably don't want to know.
So yeah.
He just peed on it.
No, it was ice water. We had a cooler. I drank plenty of water that day. That was the really crappy thing is it wasn't a lack of hydration. I drank like 2 gallons of water that day. It was
Yeah,
just,
but if
it
you're
was the heat and we're
but if you lost 4 gallons of water,
yeah, that's true. So I don't know. It sucked. It took me like 3 days to really start feeling myself again. I was about to go up a ladder and I was like, yep, nope, not going up that ladder. I'm starting to feel faint. So outside of that, I worked on the off-road trailer. I got my snorkel installed. I got stuff to do on my diff and transfer cases. I'm trying to think. I went up to Game Farm Park up there in Washington. Yeah, we should probably do that if I'm skipping out on audio here. I'm trying to think what else. So yeah, we went up to the just outside of the Port Angeles here in Washington, and there's a spot I used to go camping as a Boy Scout. And they've got old artillery bunkers there with the tracks, it's just they've filled it in with concrete so you can drive through it. Outside of that, I started my new job today, and now I've got this guy sitting next to me.
What's the name of that? What's the name of that place with the artillery?
It is Salt Creek. Salt Creek. Is it recreational area? Salt Creek recreational area. It's
Okay.
About 40 minutes outside of Port Angeles, Washington. You can see Victoria from there. There's a bunch of the old turrets and bunkers outside of on the coast. So yeah. And now there's and my pre-filter showed up today for my snorkel. So now I'm truly
That's
overland.
exciting.
Yeah,
That'll be really nice on your snorkel.
I need it
glad
for a
it showed
trip
up.
that's coming up, but I'm just glad
Yeah.
I'll have a clean filter now. I looked at my filter today and it still looks brand new because it is brand new. But yeah. So we've got Eric with us here.
Hello, hello.
Can you guys hear Eric okay?
Do I need?
You sounds like
that
we
might
need the
help.
microphone a little closer to Eric.
No, I need to turn him up. How's that sound?
How's that? Oh, hey, look.
Oh, there we go. There we
Okay.
go. Will you sing us a solo?
Yeah, no.
All right, go
Well,
ahead.
Eric, what have you been up to?
hold on.
No, we're
I
holding.
can't. Well, I can't start the stream until Ben finishes his.
All right, go ahead. Sorry. My internet's very unstable right now, guys. So Jeremy's taking over on that end.
All right, we're back on the radio.
All right.
Sorry for that quick delay.
Well, so Aaron asked what I've been up to. I just. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, we're actually going to cover a bunch of that in the main topic. So
That sounds good.
yeah,
We'll
I hate
hold off.
to not ask you what you've been up to, but
That's a
I
teaser.
think we're
That's
going
what
to
that
cover
is.
most of it.
You
Yeah,
mean
that's the teaser.
Yeah, we are.
You- You mean
Yeah,
you hate
so-
to ask him and then immediately yank it back?
Yeah,
So
maybe I don't hate to. Is that like that? Is that the Geico commercial where there's that fisherman guy with a dollar up in the air on the fishing pole?
Oh,
you
you
almost
almost
got
got
it. Almost got it.
Almost.
Well, we should mention that we have Eric in the studio with Ben. Um, Eric is known fondly to us as the passenger, but he is passenger no more.
Yes.
Eric is actually my cousin. He came with us last year to Christmas Valley as a passenger. Well, you weren't a passenger; you drove down there, and I'm sure we're going to cover
Yeah,
that.
and most famously got stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cover that on like the most embarrassing moment of the trail. But yeah, you were a passenger for that most of that trip because we didn't take your rig um,
Wonder why.
anywhere. So yeah, so Eric just got into off roading. He didn't want to be a passenger anymore, and he just got a rig. So we'll cover that in the main topic.
I don't know why the reviews isn't coming through. What is going on here?
You turned off the button on your soundboard.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think that's the problem.
All right, well then I'll do it myself. Hey guys, we are looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start doing reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an off-road podcast sticker. You can find you can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now go hit that subscribe button.
I wonder if it was only playing on the radio version.
Could be. Well, we also want to thank Patriot Patch as one of our great sponsors. You can sign up for their Patch of the Month Club. $15 a month gets you a patch, a matching sticker, and an artist proof, and the awesome feeling to know that you're one of the few that gets these sweet patches that they only make one time. They've got some pretty cool other patches that they've just been getting out there. They've got all those flashbang type grenades. They've got that squad goals one that just came out.
Yeah, I just got my patch of the month today.
Oh, I should have checked the mail. I didn't check the mail when I got home. Mine's probably waiting there for me too.
I was waiting for my pre-filter, so I had to check my mail.
Ah, actually, I got something in the mail today too. I got some inert items that you mix together for fun. They just released a Clever Girl patch, which is really cool. It's the Spaz shotgun from the very first Jurassic
Oh,
Park.
I saw that.
Yeah. So that shotgun made a big impression on me way back in the day. So anyways, we love Patriot Patch. Check them out. We also want to thank Power Tank for being one of our great sponsors. You can check out Power Tank at powertank.com. They've got some great air up and air down stuff. We're big fans of not only their power tanks, but their air up hoses. In fact, we were just telling Eric to throw that crap away that he bought and pick up a power tank hose because they just flow more volume and they've got that really long lead. You don't have to bend over. We're all getting older. Nobody needs to be bending over while they're airing up or airing down their tires.
Well, for the news, our first story here is a new Hummer, and it's coming back with a 1,000 horsepower,
That's not a type.
1,100 or 11,000.
No.
Huh?
Yeah, that's not a typo. It's 11,500 foot-pounds of torque.
And crab mode.
Yeah. So they just got a teaser video out for this. It's just a 1 minute long video talking about how they are going to be having more information coming in fall of 2020. I think they just really needed to jump on the Bronco hype and get something out there while everybody else is hyped about something. So, but it does look pretty slick. I've never heard of a street vehicle that has um, 11,000 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm eager to see how that is. They mentioned crab mode in the video. Well, they don't, all they do is they just have the words crab mode. They don't show it or anything like that. So I'm assuming that means that you can turn like a tank. You can turn, um, or maybe it has. Now that I say that, maybe it has four-wheel steering, and so you can crab sideways forward or in reverse. I'm not sure, but for that to happen, it would have to have like a drive motor for each wheel, most likely. So that'll be really interesting to see how that pans out this fall. And they say production starts next fall, 2021. So that'll be kind of interesting. Any thoughts on that, you guys, about the Hummer?
I like how they waited till after the Bronco to announce that. Be like, hey, look how much better ours is.
I don't know. To me, it seemed like
But,
a, oh shoot, we got to catch up.
yeah,
That's how I felt.
I've always been a huge fan of the first gen. Everything afterward, not a big fan. So if it looks and feels like first gen, and I know they're beasts, they're big wide beasts, but if it looks and feels like first gen, then I'd love it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like a second gen that someone took like sandpaper to and sanded all the hard corners off of a second gen and made it really smooth.
Well, they had to make it more aerodynamic.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that they came out with the truck first, and they're delaying the release of the SUV version. I think because if you watch their video at the end, they say the world's first super truck. So I think they were just trying to get that title in there.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's. I mean,
Yeah.
Hummer's market's always been a higher dollar value market. It's not the guys that go out and buy, you know, cheap Toyotas and Dodges, and base models. These are the
Nissans.
guys, Nissans, yeah, those weird Nissan guys. It's the guys that go out and spend 75,000 plus on a truck, and then go and spend that much more on modifications. So
And then drive it on the freeway.
yeah, and then just drive it on the freeway.
I will say though that they did have that H3 Alpha, and that was a pretty beefy Hummer for being.
Yeah, I like
I
the
can't
Alpha.
I can't remember what platform that one was on, but I think it
That
came
was
with a
the.
V8,
Mhm.
lockers, bigger tires. I don't know if it had a sway bar disconnect or not. I can't remember. I haven't looked into it hardly at all. Actually, probably for 4 years since we did that Hummer episode
Yeah,
about 4 years ago. So, but
it's like,
that
hey,
was
we hit the mark on the last year, and now we're not doing it anymore.
exactly, yeah. That was the only non H1 Hummer that would have any interest in me. And also, it's smaller, so it's going to be more nimble on trails than a H2 or a H1.
Yeah.
So, well, our next news story is that ARB flips the roof rack game on its head. Thanks for fixing that typo. Um, I wrote ARP. So ARB has come out with a brand new roof rack, and while it looks like every other new flat type roof rack, it's got some real awesome innovation to it. They essentially have made some slotted rails that are slotted on the sides rather than on the top, so you can bolt all your gear in and still have a flat rack system. They've got all types of things that bolt into this rack. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, you can add a bar on the front, you can add bars on the side, you can make bars all the way around, you can add lights to it, just all kinds of stuff. High lift mounts, canoe mounts, just super modular. And I think it's really cool because you can just buy the pieces you need. You don't have to buy the whole kit and caboodle and only use part of it.
So I looked at this when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I thought about it more, and so my rack uses 80/20 extruded aluminum, which has slots on all around it. So I can slide in slots, and it does a lot of what that does. So it's like oh, it's cool you improved upon an idea that's been out there. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not super impressed, but it's hey, they saw what the market needed and they are making it now even better.
I actually think it is a big improvement. So it doesn't use a track, it uses a dovetail system. And so one of the benefits over the dovetail system is you don't have to slide it in from the outside. So if you have stuff mounted already, you can just move it around without having to take all the other mounts that are outboard of whatever you're trying to put in. You don't have to take those out.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
that was
for your
a big thing that they were showing on there.
Yeah. And Ben, with yours, do you have to when you're installing a mount, do you have to unbolt it from the side at all?
Yes, I do have to unbolt it from the side, which is, that's the thing that sucks is so if I want to add mounts, I have to unbolt it, which they're 2-inch long bolts, and then I slide in another um, T bracket or T nut is what they call them.
I think we're talking Ben into a base rack here.
There we go.
I don't know. I thought it was great and great innovation. I think awesome.
No, I think they took an idea that was around and they improved upon it.
Well, you're saying you didn't think it was that good.
It's they improved upon it. It's not like, oh my, I need to go buy one now. It's okay. That's good. It's kind of like their high lift. I mean, it's a lot more impressive than their high lift. So
I feel like if maybe you didn't have a roof rack,
oh, if I didn't have a roof rack, I'd be like,
it would probably be something you'd be shopping for. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a roof rack, didn't want a roof rack, and now I want this roof rack.
Wow.
That's true. That's true. You watch that video, you're like, I need one for my Jeep.
Yeah. I was just trying to think, okay, can I still fit it in the garage if I have that rack on?
Well, and I think that's one of the benefits of it. It was a really low profile rack, so it helps you keep it low. And then also, if you don't put those side rails on, or front rail or rear rail, or however you want to configure it, if you just have a flat rack, that helps you get in and out of garages as well.
Yeah, with the mounts using the dovetail, it looks like they go on really easy. So it's like you could put it on and take it off just for a trip.
Yep.
And then just have it be 100% clean for the rest of the time.
Yeah, it would definitely make that easier.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for the main topic, huh?
Yeah, and I got the music.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we've got Eric joining us tonight. He is the passenger no more. We're going to talk to him about what it's like being a noob getting into off-roading, and what he's done to his rig, what he plans to do to his rig, and all that stuff. But first, let's start with a fast five. Are you ready, Eric?
Let's do it.
So do you like new or old vehicles?
Old.
I know that. Summer or winter camping?
You know this one too. Summer.
Yeah. Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
Okay. Rock, sand, or
snow or mud?
Sand.
I didn't say rock, sand.
Sand. Sand.
All right. Favorite vehicle brand?
I gotta go Chevy.
All right.
Oh, that's weird, huh?
And your favorite tire?
So, right now, the ones that came on my truck, on my rig.
Perfect. Perfect answer.
No, but I gotta say, driving your rig, They're nice tires. I'm actually considering them myself.
One of the great things about them is they're not loud. They're relatively aggressive, right?
Yeah.
But you ride them on the highway and they're not loud at all.
So they are the Falcon Wild Peaks, the all-terrain ones. Was it the
They've even got a snowflake on them.
The Wild Peak.
yeah, the Wild Peaks?
Yeah, I ran those on my taco. I liked them. They're just weren't quite aggressive enough for a lot of mud, but I mean they work really well for what they were.
Yeah.
And I have a bad reputation on mud, so maybe I should look into something bigger.
Now you need a big mud tire.
No, I think that was your rig. No,
Yeah,
I don't.
I would agree with
mud.
that.
I think it was your rig.
So why don't we get this started with how you got started off-roading, Eric?
Christmas Valley. Well, I mean, I've seen Aaron's rig and been impressed with Aaron's rig. Went camping with him once in Gifford Pinchette, and I was in a borrowed two-wheel drive pickup truck, and he was like, "No, let me show you what can be done." And we did a little bit, nothing major in it, and then made the horrible mistake of one time asking him, "Oh well, that's terrible. Look at all the scratches on your truck," and not realizing, no, it's not terrible. And yeah, so then Christmas Valley is kind of what sealed it for me. Normally people don't say, "Luckily I got rear-ended on the freeway," but luckily I got rear-ended on the freeway.
The best accident ever.
I seem to have a lot of friends that have been in car accidents that have really benefited him. Joel bought a house from a car accident.
Yeah,
That's an impressive car accident. It must have been really bad.
Well, it was a down payment, but
Still.
so that's what afforded me to be able to look at something four-wheel drive rather than just a daily driver commuter vehicle.
So was that borrowed truck the first vehicle you took off road?
Say it again.
Was that borrowed truck the first vehicle you took off road?
No, it was just Forest Service roads.
That's off road enough.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, you told me that story about that Cherokee and camping.
Yeah, my two-wheel drive. Actually, yeah, my first off-road experience driving was my two-wheel drive Liberty that I accidentally took on a Jeep trail, and it survived, barely.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about where you got stuck in Christmas Valley was a Jeep trail. I'm like, that wasn't a Jeep trail. That was
No. This
back
was
road.
Oregon.
well, why don't you tell everybody what you're driving now?
I have a Nissan Xterra off-road edition. I didn't spring for the Pro 4X. I didn't want to spend that much money, I guess.
So
but this
everything
one,
I understand
has had.
Everything I understand is the off-road edition is the same as a Pro 4X. It's just
Older.
from like 05 to 08 or something. They call it the off-road, and 09 and newer was the Pro 4X. They just changed the package.
Well, and it
name.
doesn't have the headlight bucket, or not the.
I don't have
the buckets up top for the lights.
Yeah, yeah.
The Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, the Mickey Mouse ears.
I am missing those. I wouldn't say missing.
I think that you'll do just fine without those.
I'd say so.
So what does the off-road package come with then?
It's got some skid plates underneath, and honestly, lockers, downhill assist. I'm pretty sure locker. You're right. Locker, rear, and downhill assist. I think that's pretty much all you get with the off-road. And you can embarrass me and tell me there's more if you want to.
The Frontier came with Bilstein shocks. I'm sure the Xterra probably had those also.
Those were redone anyway, aftermarket by the previous owner.
All right.
So one of my favorite questions, and unfortunately I was not there for this, is your most embarrassing moment on the trail.
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be on a trail. Google blindness got me, as if you listened to that episode previously, and I ended up on a farm road, which had a mud pit, but it was crusted over, and so you couldn't tell it was a mud pit. And so I ended up hub deep in mud, and I tried to not tell everybody what I'd done by finding old lumber, discarded lumber, and shoving that under my tires. I tried to shove sagebrush under my tires, and unfortunately, I was fully stuck, and I had to call for rescue. And to cherry on top was as I drove out on the Max Tracks, Aaron's Max Tracks, I had my e-brake on.
Yes.
So my favorite part of this that you missed out was how Google got you before that.
Oh yeah. I
You
went to
got
the wrong
extra Googled.
Green Mountain Fire Lookout. It was a beautiful drive, though. I'll just say that. It just added 4 hours to my drive to Christmas Valley.
Yeah, that was quite the experience for you.
Yeah.
So, what's your biggest win on the trail?
Oh man, you experienced this. It was that hill in Tahuya. I've never had that much fun behind the wheel of a vehicle. According to Jeremy, my driver front tire was 2.5, 3 feet in the air.
Yep. Give or take.
As I came out of a little hole that was on the opposite side. That was a lot of fun. We did it the second time to take pictures, and for some reason, Jeremy said this is a thing. When the camera comes out, you kind of turn into Superman, and I think I took it a little harder than I should have. There was a clunk, but there was no liquid coming out, so it wasn't hurt.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so the hill that he's
Excellent.
talking about is over by the entrance to West Loop. So you kind of go up this hill, and it's got some pretty good ruts in it, and then it's got a couple holes. So it's a good test of your suspension to flex it out on an uphill climb, and a good test of the locker, especially if you don't have a whole lot of flex. And so he handled it just fine.
Excellent.
When you were sitting at the bottom of it, did
Had a
you
good guide
be
for the
able to
line.
do it? What was that?
I said I had a great guide for keeping my line.
Did you think you'd be able to do it when you were staring at it from below?
Because you told me I could, but if there wasn't somebody experienced there telling me, yeah, go ahead, go up that hill, I never would have taken that hill.
Awesome.
That's great.
I'm glad you didn't say your biggest win on the trail was not riding with me when we were at the dunes in Christmas Valley.
That is a win, though.
I was gonna say it was watching Aaron's airbags deploy.
Oh, ouch. We didn't get to
Yeah.
watch it. We heard him though. Thunk.
Yeah.
Well, the next question is, where's your favorite place to wheel? Now, you've only been a passenger in some places, and then you've only driven in Tahuya, so maybe this one isn't applicable. But do you think that you have a favorite place, or do you think that you want to go somewhere and wheel that maybe you haven't been yet?
I had a lot of fun in the dunes when I was passenger, and so I think and I don't know a really cool dune place, or I mean, with dunes, is there one place better than another? But I think I would like to find a really cool place to do some just flat out in some dunes. Obviously not catching air, but just moving fast.
So as far as dunes go in the Pacific Northwest, Christmas Valley is one of the best. There's I'm spacing on the name. There's one in Idaho. Moses Lake is okay for being close, but it's not anywhere as good as Christmas Valley. And then there's the one in Idaho that's really good, but I'm spacing on the name.
Florence, which is on the Oregon coast halfway down, is a really cool place for dunes, and it's really long. I'd have to check on a map, but I'm pretty sure it's bigger than Christmas Valley by quite a bit.
We'll have to get out there next.
That's one where you got to bring razors or quads or something where you can really get going and have some real fun. Dirt bikes with paddle tires.
So where's the next place you want to go wheel?
Oh, I'm thinking maybe Northern Nevada.
Oh.
So yeah, there's plans of Northern Nevada. And I think it's this trip is more overland. It's nothing really too complicated. It's just getting out and having fun and hanging out and camping. So, which is a lot of what I want to do. I'm not when you guys first asked me what I wanted, I basically named everything, and not realizing that rock garden meant what Jeremy was doing with his rig when we went out to Tahuya, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that to my truck.
Oh, you'll get there.
Well, what was funny because you had gone to look at was it a TJ or it was some Jeep, and I was kind of talking to Eric about what he wanted and what he wanted to do, and I'm like, this is really overbuilt for what you are wanting to do right now. And you could possibly save some money going a different route, or that might not be your route that you want to go anyways, because do you want to break stuff? Well, not really. So I'm not saying Jeeps break all the time, but when you're when you're rock crawling and stuff, you're more prone to breaking stuff.
Oh yeah, Jeeps get that stigma because I think the standard Jeep owner is probably doing harder stuff than the standard 4Runner owner, and you're just gonna end up breaking things. Although that TJ was built very well if you didn't want to break anything. I think it was on 60s on 40.
Well, the crappy thing is that what the guy sold it, or it was just...
Yeah, he had us come out. We sat in a grocery store parking lot for an hour. Had some lady try to give us a kid.
Yeah.
And
What's she working?
and then he calls me up and says, "Oh yeah, I sold it." Like, "Oh wow, cool, thanks, man."
Yeah, what a pain in the butt. Yeah, that
Yay
like, trying to drop the kid off in my car, it was just like, no, really, I'm not her dad. Yeah,
that you know of.
No. Now she was the babysitter, so it was even worse.
Oh my goodness, that's
Wow.
terrible.
That
I
is
didn't hear
terrible.
That story.
That must have been a terrible child.
Yeah, no, we so since we've gone down this route, we're sitting in the parking lot waiting for this guy to call us back, and this gal pulls up in like a Ford Explorer or something, and this little girl gets out with this teenage babysitter, and she's like, "Oh, there it is. That's my daddy's car." And she walks over and starts trying to put her in the back of the car. I'm like, "Dude, kid, I'm not your dad." Like, no, really, not my kid. I'm not joking. And
how could anybody mistake?
She's like, "Oh, really?
Benton's
Oh, I'm
4Runner
sorry."
For their rig?
No, we were in my Camry.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
No, well, no. What's funny is so her dad showed up. Was it maybe 30 minutes later, 5 minutes later, and he's in like a Volkswagen Passat. So
Yeah.
I can kind of see it, but it was just like
The babysitter was neither embarrassed enough nor terrified enough of what she just did.
it was like, wow, you might not want to leave this gal with your kid because she might give him out to someone that will take her. So yeah.
Anyway,
So getting back to the Xterra, what have you bought so far, and what have you installed?
yeah. So I sprung for a ARB twin, and that is installed twice actually, because I installed it once and realized that I kind of like the passenger seat to slide back and forth rather than just be in one position. So I had to uninstall it and put it in somewhere in a different position.
Was that a clearance issue,
and
or
I
what?
should
What's
actually
going on with that?
It was a clearance issue. I measured, I thought, but didn't measure well enough, obviously. But yeah, so instead mounted it to the floor rather than to the seat pan. And then I should actually have rock sliders at my house right now, waiting for me to put them on. It's exciting.
What brand?
They are
Shockworks.
Schrockworks. Schrockworks.
Yep.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Did you get those new, or did you find them used somewhere?
I did go new. I went new.
Okay.
I'm finding used stuff for sale, but it's really not much cheaper than new. And so it's like, yeah, you'll save money on shipping, but why am I going to pay, $50, $100 less to get something that's been on somebody else's rig?
Well, with Schrockworks, everything I've heard, and I haven't been buying sliders or bumpers in a long time, but everything I've heard is their lead time was like 3 to 4 month lead time. It was huge. And they made super quality stuff. And way back in the day when I was first doing my thing, um, there weren't very many companies selling stuff. So if you wanted something and you wanted something good, Schrockworks was a place to go. And if you could find something used, it was going to have a high price because they knew that stuff was good and that the lead time was so far out that they could probably get that much money for it.
That makes sense.
I'm really surprised that you said Schrockworks and that you have them already.
Yeah, yeah. I did buy them. I didn't buy them straight from Schrockworks. I bought them from another site. I can't remember the name of it. So it was even through a third party, and I still got it quicker. So
nice. Well, so are those the only two things you bought so far?
Yep. I ran out of money.
Well, welcome to the club. That's how it's gonna go for the
I'm the
rest
type
of
of
your
guy
life.
that I will buy a nice leather belt instead of buying 10 bonded leather belts in a row. And so I'm the same with just whatever I buy. So I'm getting Schrockworks because I know that they're gonna last forever. I'm getting ARB because it's gonna last forever.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, it's got a damn good warranty to back it.
That's it.
Well, what have you got for some future plans for the Xterra? How do you think you're going to build it out?
I wanted to go Schrockworks with the front and rear bumper because I wanted to mount the tire on the back. The only thing is, Aaron was telling me it might be a good idea to go, what do you call it? Aluminum rather than steel, just to save on weight. But I don't know. I'll probably stick with Schrockworks all around. If I'm gonna get a winch, gotta go Warren. Otherwise, I think you guys will probably not let me ride with you anymore.
We'll just make fun of you if your stuff breaks.
Yeah, when it breaks. It breaks.
Yeah, if it breaks, you will never hear the end of it. It'll be like somebody in, airbags deploying.
And then finally, I think eventually I'm gonna take all the stock plates, skid plates, that are in specific areas, and go with a full skid plate. But that'll be pretty far in advance. It probably after I start breaking skid plates is when I'll start doing that or thinking about it.
Although if you start breaking skid plates, you might go ahead and break other stuff.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your skid plates won't break. They will severely deform, and what they're deforming into is going to be your transfer case or your transmission or your radiator or your gas pan.
Or they'll look like mine, and you'll get to the point where you just can't get them back on, and then you're like me waiting to go weld them together. But if you're smart, you'll just buy them already welded.
Yeah, that's the smart way to go.
It's a good way to go.
Don't think I'll ever add a snorkel. I don't think I'll need it. Maybe someday, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be something I do.
Do you ever really need a snorkel?
If your air intake is in your wheel well and you have to trim the wheel well out to fit 35s, yeah.
That's my other problem, according to Jeremy, is I have tiny tires.
Yeah, what size tires are those? Like a 28?
How dare you? How dare you, sir? They're 31.7. Thank you.
31s. Well, I mean, 31s.
0.7. Do not forget.
I think that 31s are a great tire when you're learning to wheel. That you kind of learn your limitations of your vehicle, and it kind of prevents you from getting in too much trouble. And that's kind of like the problems with some of the newer rigs is they come with 33s and twin lockers, so you can a Rubicon. You literally can get in more trouble with that Rubicon than an Xterra or a Toyota with no lockers because you can't get nearly as far, and so you're way deep in trouble and way over your head.
All I'm hearing is
and then you're calling in the cavalry to come save you.
All I'm hearing is if you want to be a pansy, buy a Nissan.
My
If you want to
I
just send, go for the Jeep.
So,
I'm following what you're saying, Ben, but I feel like 33s are actually that size.
Yeah,
I feel
30
like you can
33s are the new 31s,
yeah.
I guess. I mean, I feel if you go into like 35s, it takes away the fun. It
Sure.
doesn't make it any challenging. You have to work more. You don't have to work nearly as hard on the trail. I think you
For
really learn to pick your lines better when you have smaller tires.
For
for the
instance,
kind
when we
I
were
was
going
gonna
up,
say for the
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Oh,
You
I was
you
just
go
going to
ahead.
build off of what Ben said about you have to pick your line better. For instance, on that same hill that was challenging in Eric's rig, I just pointed it straight uphill, no lockers, and just walked right up it.
Yeah, and that's going to make him a better driver in the long run
Yep.
as he's learning. So you took your Xterra off-roading last weekend. What did you learn?
I learned a lot about lines, and just kind of, yeah, it was lines mostly. That was what I would say. It was good to have Jeremy kind of spot me on that hill twice, and showing me what to look for and where to point. Knowing that you need to point before you go, because once you get there, you may not be able to even see where you're going. And then if you don't have somebody with you, check it out before you start heading somewhere that you can't see.
Yeah, it's definitely getting out and walking and looking at what you're going to be doing. There's been so many times where I haven't done that, and that's why I have a 24-inch round dent in my fuel tank right now.
Is that
About the
is that
I hit
24
a
inch
boulder about
round
the size of it.
everywhere?
No, it's just a big dent. It's I don't know. It looks ugly now. I need to get new skid plates and probably new fuel tank.
You have new skid plates.
Well, a gas tank skid. There we go.
Did
That's
you
one
not?
I don't have.
You don't have a gas tank skid. Gotcha.
No, that's next on the list. My
That's an important one.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I've-
I I'm so close to 35s. It's like, should I get my skid plate or my rear bumper first? So,
If it were me, skid plate
and just
Yeah,
what
rear bumper
strap my
doesn't do anything for
35
you.
to the roof.
Sure.
or throw it in the cab or.
Strap it to the hood.
Strap it to the front bumper. Go like the old truck.
I mean, you would be surprised at how many deep scratches I have in my skid plate on my fuel tank.
Yeah. No. Well, and I speak from experience of that you really do need a gas tank skid plate because now I have an eighth of a tank less fuel economy.
Is it really that much less?
That's a good chunk of range, right? I know because I ran out of the hill and had to call AAA.
Oh, no.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I know my rig. I got gas in there still. Oh no, I don't.
And it tells you that you're reading higher than you are too, huh?
Yes, it's off because that's not where the fuel pickup is. So, yeah. Oh,
Womp womp. Womp womp.
Womp womp indeed. So we got a giveaway going on, guys. Oh, we didn't talk about the giveaway before.
We didn't. So
Ben, tell us about the giveaway.
So we are courtesy of CVT. Bobby was on and he said, "Hey, you guys have been so great. We're gonna hook you guys up with a UFO light to give away. A UFO light contains 3 LED pods, light pods that attach to it, along with a Bluetooth speaker. And the pods actually detach. So if you need light around camp, you can pull it off and use it. And then it's on it's not a tree stand, a telescoping stand. So you can put it up in the air. I think it goes 10, 15 feet, 10."
10 feet in the air, really?
10 feet in the air, and
Wow.
yeah, it goes up pretty high. And you've got light on the ground if you need it, or you can lower it down and use it as little flashlights as you're walking out in the woods to go take a tinkle. Along along with you've got some entertainment there with the Bluetooth speakers that's built into it, and it's solar powered to charge all of that. So you're not having to plug it into your car during the day.
But can you plug it into the car? Do you know that?
I don't know. I'd assume
I'm
so.
sure
I'd
you
assume you'd
can.
be able to
I'm sure you
charge it
can
with
too.
USB. That'd be pretty sad if you couldn't. We've got a version 2 if they don't have it already.
So then, what's the code this week, Aaron?
Oh,
Oh, let's do it. Get
Oh.
Eric. Eric, tell us the code.
Ah, nice. Xterra
and how do we spell Xterra?
with an X. Because
X
that's more extreme.
X T E. Yeah.
I see the misspelling of Xterra all the time out there in the world. That's pretty fun.
How many T's is it?
X like my ex-girlfriend. EX.
I was going to tell everybody that mine's actually an Xtara, so don't mispronounce it.
Xtara.
Something's going on with the code. It'll be up there. It's not up there now. It's usually up there during the live show, but it's not there yet.
The internet's fighting back.
I guess so.
It is tonight.
Apparently, it hates me and you.
So Eric, we wanted to open this time up now for you to ask us questions.
All right.
Yeah, we've been doing this long enough to where I'm sure there's questions and answers we can give you.
Well, since I'm more of a wanting to be overlander / trail guy, what is the benefit to carrying around solar, either blanket or panel? And is it just kind of a not that big of a deal, only needed if you have 2 batteries type of thing? Or is it what would be the benefit for me spending the money and actually getting a solar blanket?
Ooh, can I take this one? Because I've been researching this one. So if you have a lot of accessories that you are charging and using, that's when you'd want something like that. You're really going to drain your battery.
Define a lot of accessories.
I see so many people that an ARB fridge, you're running lights out during the night. I'm trying to think of what else. So if you're staying in one place, you're not starting your vehicle, your alternator is not going to charge your battery. So say that's your situation. You've got an ARB fridge. That's going to drain your battery if you're not moving. So that can kill your battery in a day. A day? Is it about a day, Aaron?
For the fridge? No, I feel like you can go a lot longer than that.
You certainly can, but if you've got a battery that's 5 or 6 years old that starts your truck every day on your commute and it does good, but then you go camping for 2 days, it might not do so hot. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. So if you're using a lot of stuff that uses 12 volt, or you're using an inverter, that's going to drain your battery. That's when you're really going to want like a solar panel to help keep that juiced up during the day when you're not moving, because it's obviously not going to do anything during the night. So that's about the time you want it. I've considered one, but I don't think I'd even want a dual battery. Then some people talk about wanting dual batteries, and I'm like, how much are you really using the juice out of your battery? Because you're going to go through when you buy a new battery, do a dual battery. It's generally recommended you do 2 new batteries. So your starter battery is new, and your regular battery or your backup battery is good. And then you can start your vehicle if your first battery dies off that with the other battery. That's the benefit of that, because you have all your accessories draining the secondary battery versus your main battery. I don't know. I don't use enough accessories to really need it. So
Yeah, to piggyback
All
off what Ben's saying, if you aren't staying in one place for very long, and if you don't have very many accessories, all solar does for you is give you overland cred. So it makes you look cool.
like I've got my solar generator, and I've considered getting a battery or a solar panel for that, which it's a what is that brand? Jackery 240. So it's got 240 watts, which is something like 8 amp hours or something like that. Um, and if I'm using it during the night, I have to like start my car or plug it into the battery to charge it. Whereas using solar would be nice for that.
Yeah.
So if you've got a solar generator for your extra accessories, that might be time for that.
All right. Second question I thought of was since I don't have a winch currently, what are the essentials? And I know there's a ton of videos out there that here's the 5 essentials, 10 essentials, whatever. What do you guys think are the absolute essentials to go out with if you are in a rig and it does not have a winch? Recovery gear. Sorry.
Number 1, shovel. Number
one.
2, well, actually, probably number 1 would be tow points front and rear.
Yep.
It's surprising how many vehicles don't actually have good rated tow points, and you want to make sure that it's something that is rated to, and you know what the rating is. Definitely a shovel, some sort of strap or kinetic rope, probably preferably a kinetic rope. Somebody else want to start talking now?
Both would be good. A strap and a kinetic rope would be really good. So a lot of people say a high lift jack is one of those necessities, but if you don't have a spot to attach it, it's pointless. So your rig currently, once you have your sliders installed, so your sliders would be a spot you could use it. But if you say your sliders aren't installed, your only point right now where you could really use it would be in your rear off your hitch. Would be jacking up your hitch and lifting from the receiver.
That sounds precarious, though.
Yeah. I would just make sure that you've got either good working factory scissor jack at very, very minimum, and a couple small blocks of wood because your vehicle will be lifted and things like that, or a bottle jack. Same thing, blocks of wood. I'm a big fan of bottle jacks. They're small and compact, and you can put them under a lot of different places in your rig, especially once you got your rock sliders on, or get that front bumper or rear bumper, things like that.
A tree strap's not a terrible thing to throw in there too, even though you might
Yeah.
need it, but it's a strap extension.
Yeah, but it would work as a strap extension, or if somebody else didn't have their stuff. Um, I like the traction mats, although if you're spending money on all these things, you might add up to the cost of a winch and say, which one should I get? But sometimes it's good to take the baby steps and get all these small things because you're going to want them down the road eventually. But some sort of traction mats. Of course, I'm going to say that the Max Tracks are the way to go. I've not seen a single person have a problem with Max Tracks ever.
I've
seems
seen
like
just about every other brand break or crack,
Mhm.
and I've never heard of Max Tracks breaking. I've heard of
Yeah.
Max Tracks getting the nubs burned off, melted,
Sure.
but I've never heard of a Max Tracks breaking in half.
Do you guys are proponents of buying a recovery kit, ARB or Warren, or do you think you don't need the full kit, just get the things you need? Because I think Warren's kit is like 400 some odd bucks, but I think that's more of like accessories for having the winch. It's not. Yeah.
I like to
Jeremy and
piece
I
stuff
talked about
together.
this a little bit, and you can piece it together, and you'll save a little bit of money if you get like the Warren kit. But if you don't necessarily want all the Warren gear, but you want certain pieces of gear, building it's not a bad way to go if you build it yourself. Um, it comes down to what you want in your recovery gear. Obviously, I would think you'd want hard shackles and soft shackles. Um, so it just kind of, I think it's a piece it together over time type kit thing.
And knowing you, one more piece of gear here, knowing you might have this one, and other people might have this one or have easy access to it, I would say throw in a come along. Come alongs aren't going to winch you very far. They're definitely not going to be winching you up a hill. But if you're in a tight spot and you need to bring the back of your rig around to make it around a tree so you don't get damage or something like that, a come along will do that work for you. And they make come alongs that are rated for 3,000, 5,000. I think they have some 8,000 pound come alongs, although most people don't own 8,000 pound come alongs unless they bought it for that reason. But yeah, if you got something like that, throw it in. It can't hurt. It doesn't take up too much space. Just make sure it's strapped down, not just flying loose if you have an accident in your rig.
Yeah. Well, actually, so something we didn't mention was being able to air up and down. Obviously, you have your air up method now, but do you have a way to air down?
I do. My my ARB twin came with an air down kit with the. It's the same thing Jeremy's got. Jeremy, can you kind of speak to what it is?
Yeah, it's just the ARB air down tool. So it's just the gauge with, and you can pull the valve core.
Okay.
It's how most people air down. One other thing that came to mind was a full toolkit. Having everything you need to work on your vehicle is a good idea.
Especially if you own a Jeep.
I'd say especially if you actually want to wheel.
Hard wheel, yeah. Knock on wood, I haven't really broken too much other than some airbags, but I didn't have any tools other than a pocket knife that could fix that.
Yeah, and I've had with all of my breakdowns, my tools really never came in that much use, but when I've needed them, they've come in handy.
A tire repair kit?
Yes.
Okay.
That like a Colby valve, I mean, that can really say Jeremy and Rick can really speak to that one.
Yeah, I
having
mean,
a leaky valve stem can really ruin the day.
it didn't ruin our day by any means.
But it can slow you down.
It could. That time it didn't end up. I mean, we wheeled the whole day and it was just fine. And then it was only when we aired it back up to get back to Aaron's house that we had to all air it back up halfway through.
Yeah, you just gotta keep an eye on your pressure then. But I mean, a nail in the tire or a big stick that can really ruin your trip if your tire's deflating too fast, especially when you're down at 12 psi for the trail.
Goes quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Oh, I'll cut in really quick because Rick has said this multiple times. He wants to know what you're getting for comms.
Oh, so yeah. The hard part is, I mean, technically, I'm not supposed to touch a ham. So
you can listen.
The idea is maybe I can test before the trip. It's not a lot of time, and I work in 2 jobs, so it's I don't know if I have the time to do it, but that would be kind of cool. Otherwise, I don't know. Well, I think ham's the way to go. Walkie talkies are problematic unless you're connected at the bumper.
Honestly, the right answer to this question is whatever your buddies use.
Yeah.
All your buddies use ham, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I've noticed more and more less people using CB. I've not put a CB in the Forerunner because of that. I mean, do you guys know anyone running CB?
Honestly, a lot of the club runs I've been on recently are all CB.
Well, so I haven't been on any club runs because I don't got no Jeep club.
Eric, I don't know if you picked up on that, but Ben said that you can listen in on a ham, and in an emergency you can talk on a ham without a license. So you can buy one, you can listen in and enjoy the chatter. Just don't get caught talking on it.
Yeah.
But so some COVID recent news. I've heard that you can test online at home.
Oh.
So that's what I've heard. I haven't verified that information yet.
And at-home tests are always open book.
Well, from what I understand, they watch you take the test through your camera, And before you start the test, you have to show them your room, like you move your laptop around and pan to show them that you don't have like wallpaper that's all the ham questions wallpapered on, and or someone on the other side of you with a two-way mirror reading your questions and answering them for you or
No
whatever.
kidding.
Yeah.
You're not joking.
That wouldn't
Nope.
surprise me. I mean,
Wow.
they want to be as legit as possible, but still allow people to get their license.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can do a lot of damage with a ham. I mean,
Yeah.
like jamming up people's pretty important work. So
Well,
you want to make sure you're
from
treating it
from
right.
like the search and rescue aspect, jamming up the search and rescue with some oddball chatter. I mean, granted, they've got special frequencies, but if you don't know that and you somehow got the codes for that channel, then yeah, you're jamming up channels,
Yeah.
and that can be other emergency services, or it can just be ruining someone else's ham experience, and then you're a jerk.
Mm-hmm. Don't want to be a jerk.
Nope.
Okay, so we've answered Rick's questions. You got anything else, Eric, you want to know about?
I'm trying. Those were the questions I had. Um, I guess the thing that I think about is making that jump from, because eventually when my tires wear out, I'm going to go to 33s, but making that jump from 33 to 35, I know there's a big difference in braking stuff. There's a big difference in making them fit. Is it really worth it to go 35? And Jeremy's not allowed to answer.
Well, I'm going to 35, so I can say it is technically worth it. Um, I, the larger the tires, the easier the obstacle. If you approach a rock this big on a 20-inch tire, it's going to be really hard. You approach it on a 30-inch tire, it's that much easier. A 35-inch tire, that much easier. As your tire gets larger, that boulder rock essentially gets smaller, so you are able to get more grip and more traction on it. So I think it just depends upon your driving style and what you think you need, and if you're overlanding, you're on Forest Service roads, 35s are really just a waste of fuel economy. If you're trying to go Natchez Trail, um, 35s will make the trip that much easier,
I think you can run
but it
Natchez.
might take away from some of the fun. Huh?
I think you can run Natchez fine on 33s. Honestly,
Yeah.
33s in a locker up front would be just fine. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're going to do, but I'm one of the problems with IFS is in order to fit those 35s and you have to lift it higher. Well, it's not like a solid axle where you lift it higher and you still maintain about the same travel in the axle. As you lift an IFS, all you're doing is robbing yourself of down travel. So you only have the up travel now. So now you can't cycle through as many places. So that's part of the reason I like solid axles is you can kind of continue to go up and still gain performance.
Yeah, you can get extended travel, but still, that's not gonna help you gain back that much.
Well,
No.
that's where the Titan swap comes in, though. It
Yeah.
will give you that down travel back, and if you're going 35s, you Titan swap Frontier or an Xterra. You don't take another route. That's just the way you do it, unless you're in Florida and you're all about being 8 inches of lift and on 24-inch wheels with 35s. You Titan swap.
Yeah, sounds a lot easier that way.
I got another question I thought of here before we log out. Have you thought about navigation at all? What are you going to do to find your way around?
Well, I mean, with you guys, Gaia seems to be the way to go. So that's probably where I'll end up. We all know that Google's not nice.
You've had just terrible Google experiences, and I recently had a terrible Google experience because I went to pick up some stuff for work, and it told me to go this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go this way. It seems like a little bit of a longer route, but there must be heavy traffic, and it led me to a field, and there's nothing there. Yeah, I was supposed to be going off of Pioneer, and Puyallup, and I ended up down at South Prairie in a field, assuming that it was having me go down through Ording to get there. But no.
I have my greatest one was back when Garmin was a thing. I had Garmin. We were going to Lincoln City, Oregon, and it led me to a road that literally went into a river, and there was a barge that looked like it was made out of pallet jacks and an outhouse with that went across on a guideline. And yeah, I turned around. I didn't put my car on the pallet barge. But yeah, Gaia, and the other thing with Google is Gaia's got way more trails and kind of unknown stuff that Google would never have. So that's going to be the way to go. I don't know how much it costs yet.
Well, we've got a discount code.
Yep.
It's like,
but I probably can't take that. So.
You can use Google, but you don't really use it for the offline stuff as much, but you definitely use it for planning. So this Nevada trip we've got coming up, we've been setting waypoints using Google to confirm waypoints. Yep. Doing stuff like that. Looking at satellite views is a big deal. And that's stuff you can do with Gaia also. But if you're sitting at a laptop, it's easy to just click and drag around Google and things like that.
Well, so you can do that through the Gaia website too. So I'll do trip planning. So like the Christmas or the Nevada trip, I've been looking at spots with and saving them in Gaia and kind of plotting routes along with the same with I look at Google as kind of a confirmation, and I can do different layers of maps, and I get like my GPS coordinates using Google Maps because it's quicker that way.
The other great thing about Gaia and maybe using satellite view of Google is you always make sure that you're actually on a trail. I know you guys are huge on this, and so am I, of not blazing, staying on the trail and being respecting the area you're in.
One of the biggest problems with that, though, is those satellite pictures can be outdated and the trail may have moved.
Yeah.
We had that on the Christmas Valley trip where you were seeing a trail in the satellite, but there was none to get us out of that lake bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I've went and rescued a guy up in Snoqualmie. He was following a road that was on the map, and that road was no longer there because the hill slid, and the road just disappeared. And the Forest Service decided, oh, we're not going to build a new road there. So it just ends, and he kept on going until he was stuck in a ditch.
Was that person you?
No, it was not me. I went and helped him.
His experience helped.
Yes.
Yeah, ditch experience. Yeah.
The Ditch King.
Yeah, you definitely have to take everything with a grain of salt to for trusting and things like that.
Yeah. Well, any last nickels, guys? And hearing nobody say anything, we'll just say, yeah, that's it. So, Eric, thanks for joining us and talking about your first experiences doing some real actual off-roading in your own vehicle.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me be on the podcast. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like your second time on here now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have you back in a month and a half to do a recap, or maybe a month. I don't even know what day it is. I'll be back in a month away.
How many?
Do a recap.
16 days away.
Wow. Okay.
Well, we could have the not so noob return after he's got some more experience too.
6 months from now. Let's just drag him over the Rubicon real quick.
Yeah, there we go.
Who knows? I may have a new most embarrassing moment on the trail from this trip. You never know.
We might have to ask you one of the Fast Five questions again.
You planning on flopping your rig?
No.
Do a barrel roll.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Uncle Tony.
You know we were still on the air when you said that, right?
Oh, well, Tony record.
I know.
Uncle Tony recorded this for us, so